I'm Kim Ogg, Harris County District Attorney. We've just finished the capital murder trial of Ronald Haskell. The jury has returned a sentence that caused the judge to sentence the defendant to death. They returned an answer to questions. I'm here with members of the Stay family. And let me say right at the beginning, we've talked to the Stay family. They would prefer to speak through us, and so I'll give the statement of the family, but Cassidy really wants to answer your questions. And so if you will, we'll let her answer some of your questions. Is that we're going to do it? All right. The first thing I want to say is that we very much appreciate the attention and the heavy lifting that the jury did in this case. The first duty of government is public safety, and the death penalty is the ultimate sanction. It's a big deal when the government, through society, takes another person's life, but it's an even bigger deal when the person who's standing trial for death has taken 6 lives. We had this picture. Cassidy calls it the picture. Her family. We had this in our office during this trial. It's almost impossible to look at without having extreme emotion. Of course, you know Cassidy. This picture also has her family: Emily, Katie, Rebecca, Stephen, Zach, and Brian. And on behalf of the Stay family, the other members of the family have asked me to tell the jury thank you for the verdict. They appreciate the soul searching that the jury went through to render this kind of verdict. They appreciated our prosecutors. And let me say just for a minute, these lawyers, Lauren Bard, Samantha Connect, Kaylin Williford is here. Here you are. They've worked years, some of them, daily on this case. They've been aided by investigators Mike Malden and Brian Powell. They are just a small example of the servant leaders that work as prosecutors in our office every day. And when you try a case like this, you're never the same. You can't meet the families, the survivors of those who would commit the most evil acts in our society and not be changed by it. And so I listened to Cassidy's victim impact statement, and I can tell you I've never been so moved or heard such powerful, brave, simple truth from a victim. We don't really like to refer to people as victims. We call everybody survivors. And I want you to know, on the rest of the Stay family and friends here, among these people are some of the 22 people that the defendant in this case would have murdered but for you. And so, thank God, thank the jury, thank the judge, and we thank you, Cassidy, and the whole family. We thank you, prosecutors. Thank you, members of the media who put out this message in a compassionate and respectful way. And we're just glad that justice was done today on behalf of the Stays. We are glad that justice was done. The prosecutors are here, available to answer your questions. Cassidy's here. It's really the only prepared statement that we have. So,
would you like to mention something about how this case was extremely challenging for the prosecutor office?
I'm sorry?
How this case was especially challenging for you guys?
I think this case was especially challenging because this family was such a great family. They encompassed everything that's right in this world. They were all great people. You couldn't find one thing bad to say about Katie, Stephen, or anyone in that family. And just to look at the innocent lives that were lost, those 4 kids, and then a family that was full of happiness and a future ahead of them. As a prosecutor, it was so hard to work on every day, to look at the pictures, to talk to Cassidy, to talk to the members of the family, and just share. We really did share their hurt with them and come to love this family and feel like we suffered a loss as well.
Cassidy, are you relieved today? Are you? Can you talk to us about a little bit of your mood, since it's been every day you have to deal with this since that day in 2014?
I feel a lot of relief. It feels like a huge weight has been lifted off of my chest, and I feel like justice is finally going to be served, and I'm glad that I don't have to worry about it anymore or drive down a lot to meet with these lovely ladies.
Nothing personal.
Nothing personal.
Sorry, go ahead.
Now, what has it been like for you to be surrounded by so many family and prosecutors? And I know everybody's dressing in purple, and as you guys, because it's a long trial. I mean, you're talking about 2 months and 5 years later. So tell us about that.
I'm grateful that I have a family that supports me, and I'm grateful that I have prosecutors who have become like family to me. We joke around when we're not, obviously, when we're not talking about court stuff, and I'm glad to have a strong support system like them, and I'm glad that we all get along.
Cassidy, after you delivered your victim's impact statement, you walked past yours, you had a smile on your face, and you mouthed, "Thank you." Can you describe to us your emotions at that point after you made your victim's impact statement and you walked past those doors and you felt compelled to thank you?
I just don't understand how someone can sit through something like that and see all those pictures and hear all those things and hear all these awful atrocities that this guy did. And so I wanted to thank them for their strength and for their bravery to make the right decision.
Cassidy, when did you decide you wanted to do a victim impact statement, and why did you decide you wanted to do that?
So I'd been thinking about what I would say for the past 5 years, because I knew that I always wanted to say something, and finally last night I was washing my hair and I thought, this is what I'm going to say. And I said it. I wrote it down and took it just a couple minutes to write it all down so that I could have the peace of mind up there and not get flustered, because he looked at me the whole time. It was a little weird, but I just last night figured it all out.
And when you were up there on the stand and he was looking at you, what was that like? What was going through your head? What were you feeling?
I was determined to look back at him because he finally paid attention to someone, and I hope he listened.
Cassidy, I think I speak for all of us when I say we're just in awe of your strength. Where have you gained that strength from to do this, to take our questions, to go on the witness stand?
I give it to God. My family they raised me in the church, and so to just learn constantly about how God can help us and how Christ can ease our burdens, that's what I attribute to my strength. And my mom and my dad, they were tough cookies. If anyone had the pleasure of meeting them, they didn't take crap from anyone, and so that's where I get it from.
I also noticed that just about everyone is wearing purple, including the prosecutors. Can you speak to that?
It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and purple is the color for that. So we decided to show our support for the women suffering and men suffering from domestic violence.
This case has garnered national attention. What do you hope? I'm sorry. I was just saying this case has garnered national attention. So, in the fact that so many people are watching, what kind of message do you think you would like to send to those who are paying attention?
I want people to know that there's hope and that you can get through things. You can do hard things, and life is not going to go how you think it is. I did not think that I would lose my whole family in a matter of seconds. So if I can get through this, you can get through what you're going through, and you're going to be okay. Thank you.
This is the first death penalty case in your administration, right? So
Yeah, it is. This is the first case that my administration has sought the death penalty in 2.5 years. And I think that in and of itself, given what you see on Houston streets every day, the tragedies that we hear about and those cases that come across our desk, this is very different from many of those. And domestic violence kills. It's a driver in the homicide rate. It's a priority for my administration, and all you have to do is look at this family to see why we have such passion about stopping it. You know, love shouldn't kill. And the evil that we saw in this case, the cold-blooded, premeditated, long-standing rage that drove this horrendous murder of 6 family members, you know, that is a commonality in domestic violence cases. It's just people don't die each time, thank God. So we're working to reduce that in Houston. We're trying anything and everything, all kinds of out-of-the-box types of strategies to reduce domestic violence in conjunction with the police, but nobody can make a stronger statement than the family you just saw. So I think our community has rendered their verdict about what they think about this defendant, whose name I will not repeat, and what they will do when the ultimate crime is committed. They followed the law, they looked at the evidence, and they rendered a just verdict. Thank you very much.